Most people picture Roman slaves in chains, whipped figures dragging stones through dust, Hollywood style. Visit Rome today and you'll see marble temples, triumphal arches, elegant fountains still running after 2,000 years. The tourist version of this city is clean, white, and beautiful. But every piece of that beauty was built on a system most visitors never think about. Peel back the centuries, and the marble gets darker. Using AI reconstruction technology and decades of archaeological evidence, we've rebuilt the daily reality of Roman slavery as it actually existed around 100 AD. Every street, every workshop, every face you're about to see is based on what we actually know. The empire you think you understand runs on something most reconstructions leave out entirely. Let's walk through it. From the wealthiest houses on the Palatine Hill, down into places where daylight never reaches. Start on the Esquiline Hill, in the courtyard of a wealthy Roman household. The morning air carries the sound of grinding stone, water splashing into a basin, and somewhere deeper inside, the rhythmic slap of dough against wood. The house itself is enormous. 30 rooms arranged around an open atrium with a shallow pool catching rainlight. Frescoes line the walls in deep red and ochre, depicting scenes of myth and harvest. Every surface gleams because someone polished it before you woke up. That someone is one of roughly 15 slaves living inside this house. A Roman household of this size operated like a small corporation, and every slave had a title. The atriensis managed the door. The cubicularius maintained the bedrooms. The structor arranged the dining table for each course. Think of it as a hotel staffing chart, except no one chose to be here, and no one clocks out. Ancient sources list over 100 distinct slave job titles in wealthy Roman homes. 100 specializations, each one a life. Step through the atrium and into the kitchen. A woman kneels near a low brick stove, blowing on charcoal to coax the morning fire. Her arms are thin and scarred at the wrists from years of reaching across open flame. The kitchen has no chimney. Smoke gathers against the ceiling and drifts out through a gap in the tiles. She's preparing pulse, a thick porridge of emmer wheat, the staple food for most enslaved workers. On a good day, there might be olive oil stirred in. On most days, there's salt and nothing else. The family she serves will eat eggs, figs, honeyed wine, and roasted pork tonight. She will not. Now walk down the corridor toward the rear of the house. The rooms get smaller back here. The ceilings drop. The frescoes disappear and bare plaster takes over. This is where the slaves sleep. Narrow cells called cellae, some barely 6 feet long and 4 feet wide. No windows. A single oil lamp, if they're fortunate. A straw mat on a stone floor. These rooms sit directly above the house's drainage channel, and at night, the smell rises through the floor gaps. Roman domestic slaves lived inside the wealth they maintained, but never occupied. The distance between the dining room and the slave quarters in this house is 40 feet. The distance in status is absolute. Here's the part most reconstructions don't show you. Some of these domestic slaves are educated, more educated than the family they serve. Greek-speaking tutors, trained musicians, personal physicians, skilled accountants. Rome conquered the Eastern Mediterranean and turned its professionals into property. A Greek doctor enslaved after a military campaign might spend 20 years treating a Roman senator's gout. The senator's children call the doctor by a single name. He has no family name anymore. Under Roman law, a slave is not a person. A slave is a res, a thing. The same legal category as a table or a mule, but the domestic slaves are the fortunate ones. Leave this house and head downhill toward the Tiber. The streets narrow, the noise rises. Hammers striking metal, cartwheels grinding on basalt, voices shouting prices in 3 languages. Cross through the Forum Boarium, the old cattle market, and the city changes around you. The marble facades thin out. brick and timber take over. The smell of tanneries hits before you see them. You're entering Rome's industrial district, and the labor here runs on a different kind of slavery entirely. Step inside a fullonica, a textile cleaning workshop. Fulling was Rome's version of dry cleaning, and the process would shut down a modern health inspector in minutes. Slaves stand barefoot in stone basins, stamping on soaked fabric for hours. The cleaning agent is human urine, collected daily from public pots stationed on street corners. The ammonia breaks down grease and sets dyes. The slaves doing this work stand in it up to their calves, 6 hours at a stretch. Their feet develop open sores that never fully heal. Emperor Vespasian taxed this urine. The phrase pecunia non olet, money doesn't smell, comes directly from this trade. The fullonica is uncomfortable. What comes next is worse. Leave the textile district and follow the Via Ostiensis south toward the river port. Rome consumed 400,000 tons of grain per year by the reign of Trajan. That grain arrived on ships, crossed onto river barges, and had to be unloaded by hand at the Emporium docks. The men doing the lifting are slaves owned by shipping corporations. Each one carries sacks weighing roughly 65 Roman pounds, about 50 modern pounds, up narrow gangplanks, hundreds of times per day. Their average working life in this job lasted 7 to 10 years before their bodies gave out. There is no retirement system, there is replacement. Think of Amazon warehouse logistics, except every package is carried on a human back, and the workers are legally property. Rome moved more cargo through this river port than any city in the ancient world. The Emporium stretched over half a mile along the Tiber. The ruins of its retaining walls are still visible today in the Testaccio neighborhood, buried under restaurants and apartment buildings. Testaccio itself is named for Monte Testaccio, a hill made entirely of broken amphorae, the clay shipping containers that slaves carried and discarded here for 300 years. The hill still stands. It's 115 feet tall. Now look past the docks and towards something you can't see from here. 200 miles southeast, in the Cartagena region of Roman Spain, enslaved miners work silver and lead deposits that fund the imperial treasury. We're not walking there today, but you need to understand what happened in those tunnels to understand what Rome actually was. Pliny the Elder describes mine shafts driven into mountains for miles, held open by timber arches, ventilated by slaves fanning air through narrow passages. The miners worked in shifts of 10 hours, in spaces too low to stand. Many never saw daylight for days at a stretch. Diodorus Siculus, writing about similar mines, says the workers had no rest from their labor until death released them. Those are his exact words. The mines produced 40,000 Roman pounds of silver per year at peak output. That silver became denarii, the coins that paid soldiers, funded construction, and kept the empire solvent. Every aqueduct, every temple, every road you've seen in our other reconstructions traces back partly to this extraction. Rome's economy didn't just use slavery. Slavery was the economy, the engine beneath the marble. Come back to Rome. Walk north from the docks toward the Subura, the densest residential district in the ancient city. The streets here are barely 8 feet wide. Apartment blocks called insulae rise 5 and 6 stories overhead, blocking the sky. The ground floors house thermopolia, hot food counters, and small workshops. The upper floors house families, and among them, freed slaves navigating a status most modern people don't understand. A freed slave in Rome, a libitus, was technically free, but permanently marked. They owed continued obligations to their former owner, called operae, which could mean anything from labor days to financial payments. They couldn't hold public office. Their children could, but they couldn't. Freedom in Rome had a price tag, and it kept collecting even after you paid it. Manumission records from this period suggest the average cost of buying your own freedom ranged from 500 to 2,000 sesterces, depending on your skills. A skilled craftsman earned roughly 4 sesterces per day. Do the math. That's 400 days of wages at the lower end. If you could save every coin, which you couldn't. You're standing in the Sabura now, outside a bakery at dawn. A man shapes dough with hands missing 2 fingers on the left side. He's a libatus. He bought himself out of a household in the Aventine district 11 years ago. The bakery is his, legally, but his former master still receives a percentage of the flour sales. The man's name appears on no monument. His children's names might, eventually, if things go well. 3 generations. That's how long the stain of slavery takes to fade from a Roman family line, according to legal custom. His grandchildren could be senators. He cannot sit in their section of the theatre. Here's what I keep coming back to about this system. Rome didn't hide its slavery. Slavery was visible on every street, in every household, at every construction site, in every mine. Scholars estimate between 1/5 and 1/3 of the population of Roman Italy were enslaved, 6 to 10 million people. The city of Rome alone may have held 300,000 to 400,000 slaves at any given time in the early 2nd century. The Colosseum held 50,000 spectators. Fill it 7 times over, and you begin to approach the number of enslaved people living inside the city walls. Walk back toward the Palatine Hill where we started. Look at the houses again. Look at the polished marble, the running water, the painted walls. Every surface you admire was maintained by someone who didn't choose to be here. The water in the fountains was channeled through pipes installed by slave labor. The food on the table was harvested, shipped, and cooked by enslaved hands. The children of the household were educated by enslaved teachers who once had their own families and their own names. Rome built the most sophisticated urban civilization the ancient world ever produced. No city would match its population for over 1,000 years. But the operating system beneath that civilization was human trafficking on an industrial scale. The beauty was real. The suffering was real. They were the same system. Which part of this world do you want to walk through next? The gladiator barracks, the public slave markets, or the underground prisons beneath the Forum? Subscribe to see Rome rebuilt, one piece at a time. New reconstructions every week, based on what we actually know, built to show what it actually looked like. This is Rome, rebuilt. See you in the next one.